Today I want to talk about the up-and-coming Sony XM4 headphones driver size. I want to talk about why its speaker drivers may be smaller than the current model, the XM3s, and why it may end up producing less bass than the XM3s. So there was this leak recently, if you recall, there was this draft manual which popped up on a Brazilian website, and it turned up some pretty interesting numbers, some specs which I covered in this video, but there wasn't any reference inside to its driver size, which is kinda to be expected really. But based on the specs that this document revealed, the XM4 headphones we know for a fact will have Bluetooth 5, a Class 1 Bluetooth antenna. It's not gonna have Aptx and Aptx HD support. I know it's sad, but that's what the document says. And it's gonna run off a 2-watt power consumption rate instead of the XM3 headphones 8-watt power consumption rate. So it's gonna be more power efficient, which leads to a slightly longer battery life. And all of that, bros and sisters, is very similar to what we've seen with the Sony Heron 3 headphones, otherwise known as the H910N. Now, if you're aware of what the major changes were between the Heron 3 and its predecessor, the Heron 2s, you'll notice that it seems to mirror very closely the changes that we are seeing right now between the XM4 headphones and the XM3s, as in the differences between the older model and the newer model, such as Bluetooth 4 versus Bluetooth 5, Class 2 Bluetooth antenna versus Class 1, Aptx HD support versus no Aptx HD support at all. And furthermore, the Heron 3s have a very similar power consumption rate to the up-and-coming XM4 headphones, 2.5 watts. So that's very close to the 2 watts that the XM4 headphones are supposed to be running off. So from all of that, we can see that this next major change between the Heron 3s and the Heron 2s may have some bearing on how the XM4 headphones may turn out. The Heron 3s have a driver size of 25mm. That's smaller than what you get with the Heron 2s, which is 40mm. Now, just like what I said earlier, Sony hasn't released any information at all about the XM4's driver size, but if we look at the similarities between the specs of the XM4 and what we have right now with the Heron 3, this could very well point to the XM4s having a similar driver size of 25mm. So it'd be very interesting to see how this could impact the XM4 headphones sound quality versus the older model, the XM3s. Now, my guess is that there may be a compromise in the bass department because of the smaller driver size. Now, yes, it's true that a bigger speaker driver does not ensure deeper bass performance. That's true. There are just so many variables involved, like the design and the material of the speaker driver, how much excursion can you get out of it, the tuning, the impedance. So it's kind of simplistic to say, yes, that a smaller speaker driver will always produce less bass than a larger speaker driver, but the general consensus is that it's much easier to get bigger bass performance out of larger speaker drivers than smaller ones. So it's always an engineering challenge to get smaller speaker drivers to produce as much bass as larger ones. I think Bose has the most experience in this field. Sony's approach to this challenge, however, is when they were designing the H910N, the Heron 3s, they used a 25mm driver with an aluminum dome, or aluminum dome if you're American, with a soft urethane edge diaphragm. This gives the driver a bit more flexibility around the edges so that it can achieve a slightly higher excursion depth than regular 25mm dome drivers. Now, I'm not saying that this is definitely going to be the driver that Sony will use for the XM4s. Maybe it's going to be different, who knows, maybe they've had a breakthrough driver that is 25mm in diameter, but is able to produce just as much bass and frequency response and sound pressure as the driver used in the XM3s. But since the H910N or the H103s have thinner bass than the XM3 headphones, this does not guarantee that we will get the same bass response as the XM3 headphones when this solution is implemented in the XM4s. But actually, that may not even be a bad thing, because there are some people out there who feel that the XM3 headphones sound too boomy, too much bass is what they said. So maybe if the XM4s had a more subdued bass response curve, it'll appeal to a wider audience, who knows. But either case, it'll be very interesting to see how the XM4s will perform in terms of sound quality when it comes out. Now, as for when the XM4s will be launched, as of this moment, I don't have any information yet, but I guarantee that once I do, I will come back to you with another video about the Sony WH-1000XM4. So if you want to stay tuned of any new updates about the XM4 headphones, please consider subscribing by clicking on the subscribe button and ringing the notifications bell, because that is the only way YouTube will notify you of new content from this channel. Oh, by the way guys, please be a legend and check out my new Sony playlist. Now, basically this is a collection of all of the Sony related reviews and news videos that I've made over the past couple of years. Right now, since we're all stuck at home because of you know what, you may have ran out of stuff to watch, right? If so, please watch this playlist, because number one, you help to boost this channel's watch time. Thank you very much for your help. I really appreciate it. And number two, in some of these videos, you might even get to spot my evil twin. This guy that looks like me, sounds like me, but with long hair, looks ridiculous. So that's how you're gonna identify my evil twin. Now, I am planning to do a live stream. Probably it's gonna be an AMA live stream whereby you get the opportunity to ask me any question. It doesn't have to be about audio, can be about my personal life, for instance. So it's gonna be probably a very interesting live stream. May take place this week or the next week, we'll see, but I'll have more details with you very, very soon. So do stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like it. If you did, please show that you like this video by punching that like button with vengeance, Bruce Lee style, and sharing this video with your friends and family. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and please ring the notifications bell to stay notified of new content from this channel. Once again, I'll see you again, bros and sisters. Adios. If you're a humble person like me, this shirt is a great way to show your friends how humble you really are. And whenever you look in the mirror, to admire yourself of course, it will also help to remind you to always be humble. So guys, this is a pretty fun shirt to wear. You can check it out in the link below. It's available in t-shirt, tank top, and hoodie. Your purchase helps keep this channel going, and I appreciate your support, bros.